Hi everybody, this is Katie. I'm going to try to keep this short, 15 minutes. So I'm going to talk fast, but you can pause. Before we can begin lesson 1, which is the first chapter, or they call them lessons in this book, of our class, Windows Server 2, which is deploying and managing Windows servers. Images. So this is where you go and make an image of one computer and you blast it off to hundreds of computers so that you don't have to go from machine to machine. They do this, you'll do this in entry-level IT jobs all the time. They do it at all companies. It's just faster, more efficient. But before we can begin this first lesson, which is posted and ready for you in our lab book, which is right here, before we can begin that, you need to before this Windows deployment server system works, we need to have certain things on our server to begin. So I have this folder here, server installation and configuration. There is an assignment in here. The assignment is just to take a screenshot of your properties and a screenshot of the server manager dashboard. Take 2 screenshots, put them here in the assignment, and then submit them. But if you're not ready for if your server's not ready already, which I don't think it is, I want you to do one of these 3 options to get it ready to go. First option, you can use your server from CIS234. If you want to do that, there are some changes you need to make, so read through this and watch this video. This is the installation and configuration video from the first class, and it kind of sets you off with a clean server. It changes your IP. I want you to follow these basic server configurations down here. The next option you can do is start from scratch and build your own again. I like this idea because you get to go through the process again and it gives you a clean server. If you do this option, I download this document right here. It's directions for starting fresh, and there's 2 labs. Don't turn these in, but they'll help you set it up. The first one is showing you how to download server from DreamSpark on the hub, and then it shows you how to set up and download and then set up VM Workstation and then prepare your VM workstations. So you might already have VM Workstation set up and server downloaded, so you won't have to watch that, but if you have nothing starting over, then take a look at that. The second lab, 1-2, it shows you how to install and configure server A. We're going to work with server A in this course. You can rename your servers. Just pick one of your servers that you know that you want to work with if you're doing option 1, and then change the name and configurations. So here are the configurations we're going to have, and some notes that you'll want to follow for installing server A. So if you're installing from scratch, you can watch this video right here, and it's about 50 minutes long. He walks you through all of the setup. That's what I did to start this class again several weeks ago. I started new with the new server. Because my servers last year, I had a lot of different things going on them, and I just wanted to start fresh. And then at the end of installing my server, this is my screenshot for what mine looked like. Notice NIC teaming in the Ethernet IP is set. Those are given from this video. You'll see those, what they set them to. But that is option 2, so you can do that. And then the third option, which isn't a bad option either, you can download the server that I'm going to use. I uploaded it to Google Drive. You can download the whole server. It'll take some time because it's about 8 gigs. And then use that to start this class. So pick one of those 3, get it ready to go, and then what I'm going to show you in this video right now are 3 things that we need installed on our servers before we can begin lesson 1. Those three things are Active Directory, DNS, DHCP. We also need an NTFS formatted volume, but that should be there already. If you are configuring your server from scratch, here's the IP address, the default gateway, and the DNS IPs. The name of your server is server A-DC. And then this information, domain name, that's when we do Active Directory and DNS, which we're going to do together right now. So everybody's got something, you're ready to go. Now, pause this video, figure out what you're going to do, and then pick it up from this point. Right now in the video, because we're going to go over and install those three things and make sure we're ready to go. So 6 minutes is the stop time. All right, so what I did is I did option for this video. I'm doing option 3 where I downloaded my server, and I actually did this two nights ago. It took a while to download, but the download went well. I downloaded it, and it first went to my downloads directory, and then I moved it from here over to a directory called to my VM drive, or my virtual machines directory. So then I put it in this one, downloaded from Google Drive. It gave me a zip file. Make sure you unzip that. So just right click on it, extract all, and then I had this one directory, and now I have what was your downloaded file. So there's that. And in here, take a look at these files that are in here. Something strange happened with my download. I don't think it happened with others, but these two files were named, this one was S001-1 and then 002-2. So I had to rename those so they matched up with the rest of this format, but I think that was a glitch in my downloading. It got put in the wrong area, so that shouldn't happen with you guys. But take a look at this directory and make sure that what you're downloading, what you have, and when you want to go over to VM, is you have your directory, server A, W 2017, and then you have these files in here. And the main ones here, VM 123, those are where most of the data is. Okay, so that should be about, this directory should be about the same as what you've downloaded. Alright, so now I launch VM Workstation. I'm going to open a virtual machine because I've already downloaded, and then I'll navigate to where it is. Like I said, it's in my VM directory, and then I downloaded it. It's in here. Okay, so what you're looking at really is going to be server A, and then you want to open the VMX file, and you're ready to power on at this point. Real quick, the defaults, the setting, if it picks it up from how I have it, check these two things. The DVD, CD DVD, if you click on that and it's not, it might be still pointed to the ISO. Check that. If it is, change it to the use physical directory. Otherwise, it might try to install it again. And then go down to network adapter, and it could be on NAT or it could be on bridged. Mine's on bridged. I'm going to leave it on bridged, but that messes a little bit with my IP. But I'm at home on my computer at home, and bridged works at home. If you're on the college campus network, you're going to use NAT. If you have any problems with something like connecting to the internet, like doing updates or something like that, or things aren't working right with your IP address and connecting to other devices, perhaps change it to NAT. So NAT will always work. Bridge sometimes works. It just depends on your network setup at home. So I'm going to leave mine on bridged because I'm at home and I know it's working. But if you have problems, shut down your virtual machine, go to your settings, just to edit the settings and change these around and see if that changes or fixes things. So I'm going to leave mine unbridged right now. 2 gigs of memory. I have mine at 2 processors. 1 processor is fine. And then 60 gigs of hard disk space. But when you open yours, you don't have to do like a new, virtual machine. You just open the one that you've downloaded and then power it on. Check the settings to see if they're the same as in this video. Power this baby on, and the first thing that will come up is the login for administrator. So the password is PASSWORD01, whereas the first P, the only P, is a capital. That is written in the notes, and I just told the world because it's very super secret. So when we click here, in here, we're going to do not Control-Alt-Delete because that will go to my outside, but I want to do Control-Alt-Insert, and then you're logging in as admin, and capital PASSWORD01. If you change your admin password later, just make sure you know what it is. Otherwise, you might have to hack into it somehow. I don't know how to do that. Or you might have to reinstall and start over. So here we go. This is what you'll see when you log in. Anytime you log in from the beginning, it launches Server Manager. If you need to change your stuff, if you're doing option 1, you can watch that video I told you to watch and change your basic settings. If you're doing option 2, where you're starting from scratch, I also gave you have one video that you need to watch that is called Installing and Configuring Server. That one, at the end of that video, we are at the same spot. And then if you downloaded it, we're at the same spot. So I think you have an idea. To begin with, these are red, but those will change. It's just getting set up right now, so we're not going to worry about that. Yours might not be red if it's set on NAT. Okay? Those will go away. It's no big deal at this point, and also it's still loading. But if you go down to local server, I'm going to point this out right now, but I don't want you to change it. Active Directory, or in order for a server to be a domain controller, it is going to require a static IP. Right now, my NIC teaming became enabled, and I think it has to do with my VM setting as bridged. So if yours is different right now, if it is different, it'll look like the IP address that is here. You'll have this IP and NIC teaming will be disabled. But because of the bridge setting, I think it's changed it over to enabled the NIC teaming, and then also you can see that there's a NIC team 1 set up and that it connects or is connected with this Ethernet card. But the good thing about that is we can get out to the internet with this setup. But it might not work when we need to enable our domain controller, because typically domain controllers need a static IP in order to work. But here we're cruising along and on the internet because of my bridge setting, and I'm using the resources of my main PC. But the rest of these settings that I have are settings that I I was told to do that you're going to be told to do when you watch this video here on installing and configuring Windows Server. So that's the 30-minute video. Actually, let me check the date. Yeah, this is the one 35-minute video, and he walks you through the installation and then configuration, and at the end you will have these settings right here. Mine this part changed, but I think that's due to the bridge, so we're going to just ignore that for right now and change it later. If yours is like this one or like mine, either one is great. But the main point of this video is to let's do our Active Directory install, our DHCP, and our DNS. The other thing we need in order for WDS, Windows Deployment Services, to work is we need a volume that's configured as NTFS. If you go to your folders, and you'll see that you have the C drive, which is your hard drive. And if you look at your properties, this file system is already formatted as NTFS. So we're just going to use the primary drive. There's 50 gigs on mine. There's 50 gigs available. That's because I set up 60 gigs in my VM settings, so I'm good to go there. So I close that, and let's first start by installing Active Directory. So I'm going to go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. I'm not going to explain all these because we've gone through this before. If you need some more review, then you can go back and watch some of those videos. And here is my server A. Notice this changed from 101, which is what I initially configured that IP as. Pretty sure. No, I initially configured it as 201, but it changed to 104, and that's because it's doing DHCP from the bridge settings. So yours might be a little different, but that's my server I'm going to select. Hit Next. I'm going to install Active Directory. These are other features that need to be installed with that. So I'll hit Add Features, and then Next, 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 and it's going to restart. I'm not going to check that. I'm going to restart it myself, but I'll do our install. So that's installing Active Directory. There is some configuration we need to do in a little bit. That's where we will promote our server to become a domain controller. So I'm going to pause this video while it goes through the installation, and then I'll pick it up when the installation's done. You shouldn't notice a break. Oops, there's Camtasia. I'm already over 15. I meant 50 minutes, but I'll still go quick. Okay, it's finished the installation, so I'm going to go ahead and promote this server to a domain controller. If you hit finish, you can go back and do edit when you're looking at your domain. Here we're going to add to a new forest. By default, typically you're adding a server to something that already exists, but here we are making a new domain. So we're going to make a new forest and add our root name of globalmantics.local. So globalmantics .local. Let me just check that also is in Blackboard. Right here, globalmantics.local. That's our domain name. Add a new forest, and then we'll hit next. Now watch this configuration bar up here and make sure when it's moving, it's still installing. Here, this is saying what servers do we want to support. So if you have 2008 servers in your domain, then you would check this. But we have only new servers that are 2012 R2 at minimum, so we'll leave that there. And it's a DNS server, and global cataloging is there. Put in your password, PASSWRD01, for directory services restore mode. So just use the same one. And then hit next. Delegation for this server cannot be created. Okay, we know that. We can work on that later. It says that if you're integrating with an existing, you can manually create and deal with that later. So that's okay. Let's hit next. Now notice that the installation bar is still moving. It's just going out there and checking that Global Mantix doesn't already exist, and then it should plug in this data for us, Global Mantix. Hit next. Still going. Okay, these are the locations. Leave those as the default. Next. This is all of our things that we're doing. You can view the script and it will open it up in PowerShell if you choose to. We're using the GUI side, but you could use PowerShell to configure Active Directory. I chuckle because I don't want to do that. I started on server days when you didn't have these beautiful GUIs and everything was command line. It was difficult. Now we have these beautiful GUIs, so I'm going to use them. Next, and prerequisite check. We should get a couple warnings. If you watch that, if there's a video in the first class, maybe you remember when we did our installation, it explains what these warnings are, but ultimately what you'll see is our prerequisite check passed. So those warnings we can deal with later. It has to do with IP and domain controllers, but we're going to hit install. So now it's finishing installation, and just be patient. It takes a little bit of time as it's going along. Okay, waiting for DNS. Now when we have promoted Active Directory to domain, it's dealing with DNS and DHCP and installing some of those things for us. Okay, it's creating our partitions, setting our common names, domain controllers, .local, how many objects are going to be put into our domain controller. I can pause real quick while yours is still going. Well, mine is still going. I'll pick up when it continues. If you get to this, you're about to be signed out. That's because it needs to reboot. So go ahead and let it reboot. When it does the reboot, it will ask you to log back in, and remember Control-Alt-Insert to log in as your admin. Okay, my reboot finished, and I'm logging in as now the Global Mantix Administrator, PASSWORD01, capital P. And let's see how our domain controller is looking now. So Server Manager will open up, and then we can check that we have Active Directory and that this server is promoted as a domain controller. Notice the blue bar going across at the top, setting things up. We do not want to have any flag errors, warnings. If you have those from last semester, we want to fix them this semester. So notice it installed our Active Directory. It installed DNS for us, so that's awesome. We don't have to do that. We don't have any flags that anything needs to be configured. Things are working right. Okay, the last thing that we need is DHCP, so we're going to add roles and services. Next, role-based, feature-based, global mantics. Active Directory is installed. DNS is installed. Let's select DHCP. So we're going to add this feature. Continue. Okay, now here I'm getting an error. You might not get this if you have a static IP. Let's see. I need to set my static IP. That's where we'll get that. You should configure at least one static IP on this computer before you can install that. Okay, let's see if I can install it anyway. I'm just hitting next through that, and then I'll set my static IP up later if I need to. That's the static IP. If you want to go set that up, if yours changed over to NIC teaming like mine did because of my bridge setting, in Blackboard, here's what your domain controller IP address should be, and then you'll set, it's an IP version 4 obviously, and then you'll set the default gateway and the DNS to that as well. So I'll take care of that later. It looks like I can at least install DHCP here and then be ready to go on to the next lesson. It's really, really important too. So complete DNS configuration, which I think is a reboot. Let me hit close. Well, I can hit either one. Next. Okay. That's our alternative. Specify the credentials to authorize the DHCP server and ADS. Okay, that's okay. Commit, close. There we go. Now we have a couple flags. Let's reboot and see what we get at this point. So I'm going to reboot, and also you could try to refresh, but this needs a reboot. Whoop, see, we got some more. I do. Refreshing. Okay, I'm going to reboot mine, see where we are. Restart. It's a planned shutdown. And then I'll pause and pick it up in a minute. Hold on, let's see. Pause. Okay, now I have my reboot. Control insert. Logging in, setting everything up, and I should be good to go. I'm just going to check so we can compare our settings at this point. If I do have any errors, I'm going to stop at this point anyway, because we can check those later. But you're ready at this point. You're ready to go with WDS, which is Windows Deployment Services in Windows Server for your Lesson 1. So when you read that information in Lesson 1, if there's something called a PXE server and DHCP option 60 needs to be configured out to the client, which allows your PXE client to locate the WDS server port. It's all it's explained in WDS when you read it, But the reason why we don't have to worry so much about that is because before we install WDS, we have DHCP already installed. So these two services can coexist. But if DHCP and Active Directory and DNS, those are all installed ahead of time, we don't have to change any of our port settings. When you do that lesson 1 project on your server, you'll see where it'll say about port 60 and port 67 and DHCP and WDS working together. This is going to be, those configurations are going to be done for us, and they're going to be a lot easier because we have this installed and configured before we moved on with lesson 1. So lesson 1, again, it has those 4 things that are needed in order for Windows Deployment Services to be functional. That's Active Directory, DNS, DHCP, and a formatted NTFS volume. So we have check. We have all 4 of those. And you're ready to go on to the next assignment on configuring that. I've gone through that. It was pretty easy. You get to make an image and see how you can blow those out to multiple machines. Let me check what's going on my server. Things are looking good. I still have some things down here, but those should change as it finishes setting up. But my DHCP, DNS, Active Directory, everything looks good. NIC teaming is probably still enabled, and that's set. But good to go, no flags. So once you're done here, I want you to take a screenshot of this. So here's your server properties. Take a screenshot of your dashboard, which is this dashboard and server properties. Okay, turn those in, and you're ready to go. So thank you. Enjoy. Oh, that was the wrong button. Here's our stop. Have a good day. 30 minutes, not bad.